Hello, everybody. Welcome to Take the Black Live, the only show on the internet where we give you the straight skinny on all things sci-fi, fantasy, movies, TV, aliens, robots, monsters, dragons, horses, swords, etc. I am Dan Selcke, the editor of winterscoming.net. And look, look who decided to sew up. It's Daniel Roman, absent the past 2 weeks, but coming to make his triumphant return to the set of Take the Black Live. Daniel Roman, we've missed you. Have you missed you?
I haven't missed me, but I've missed you, Dan, and I've missed all of you out there. Definitely missed out these past couple of weeks. I'm glad to be back. It was largely in the name of some fun stuff. Keep an eye on the site over the holidays for some fun conversations I may have been having with people these past few weeks. But today, I had to be here today because there's House of the Dragon news. What's up? What's up, everybody? There's a trailer. How do you feel about it,
trailer?
Dan?
I feel great. Yes, it's true. You came back on a good day, and everyone out there, you've come on a good day, including Andrew, Julie, Urtak, Nicole, Martha. You're all here on a good day because we are, in very short order, I think, going to watch HBO's newly released first trailer for House of the Dragon season 2. They dropped it on Saturday.
Yeah.
We oogled it, we digested it, we thought about it. Now we're going to watch it, break it down, and I want all of your opinions on what's happening, what's getting you excited, what's turning you off, what's turning you on about the trailer. And should we just get right into it? Because I'm not sure we really need to have much preamble here. There's a House of the Dragon trailer. We're going to watch it.
I think we should, but can I just say before we start, did I hear you? So I don't have chat on for those of you in chat because I'm at home. It's slow. There are clouds. My internet's bad. Did I hear you say Urtak is in the chat? Because I want to know what. Okay, so Urtak, who did artwork for Rise of the Dragon, I want to know what scenes he's going to be making art of from this trailer, fan art, right? Am I thinking of the right person? Urtak Altanos?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not confident about the name. I'll be honest, Urtak. Sorry about that. Urtak Altanos, yeah. If you're the illustrator for the Rise of the Dragon, welcome. And yes, if you want to give us any special information, we would just love it.
I just mean for funsies. I want to know what everyone's most excited about from this trailer. So as we go through it in the chat, let us know what got you excited. I'll stop rambling, stop embarrassing myself. And yeah, let's get into it whenever you're ready.
Let's run it. Let's do it. Okay. Oh, it's been over a year. It is nice to see this again. Okay, stop it right here. So I didn't...
Right at the top.
I didn't put this together first. So this is pretty clearly Rhaenyra at Shipbreaker Bay looking over where her son Lucerys died. When I first saw it, I was like, is that Dragonstone? No, that's Storm's End, at Shipbreaker Bay. She is upset about she's visiting the scene of the crime where her half-brother killed her son, as I'm sure everyone was saying over the Thanksgiving table not that long ago. Normal family thing.
Yeah, totally. I didn't catch that on my first watch either. There are a lot of hidden details in here. I imagine this is going to be like one of the first scenes of the season, maybe.
Probably.
You know, Rhaenyra. This is not a scene that we really got in Fire and Blood. Rhaenyra going to visit Shipbreaker Bay, and it's real. The war is on. Yeah. Shall we continue?
Continue, please. Producer Richard, thank you for doing all this, by the way. Love it.
Yeah.
Daemon Targaryen in his helmet. Okay, pause on some of the soldiers.
Let's pause on. Yeah.
Allison looks great. What a great chair. Okay, so we know that in the first season, there weren't many battle scenes, which made sense. It was more about getting to know the characters, kind of knowing their relationships. They had these big time skips to negotiate. They had one big battle, and it was the one against the Crab Feeder, which really wasn't, I would say, a battle on par with like the greatest of Game of Thrones. They're going to step it up this year.
Agreed.
We know of at least one big battle that's coming, and I'm just hoping that they really shoot for a Battle of the Bastards level of fidelity, excitement, and attention to detail this time. And we know it's going to happen. Like I'm betting this might be from but go the battle at Rook's Rest. I have been forgetting things lately,
Yeah.
but that's still there.
It's mayhem. It's mayhem right now. There's so much
Ooh.
news flying around for House of the Dragon. My brain is becoming like Swiss cheese. But yeah, so I imagine you're right that this is a shot from Rook's Rest. I can't quite make out the sigils on those shields because I can't quite see it on my computer screen, but I imagine these are fighters for the Greens. We do get some high
Sure.
tower sigils with soldiers and other shots. That look like they could be from this same battle. But yeah, so Rook's Rest, like you said, Dan, that is going to be the show's first real swing at doing a
Real
large scale
swing,
battle.
yeah.
Because, yeah, the Crab Feeder, that was kind of mainly about Daemon as a character. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
really about the battle that was happening, the way that something like the Battle of the Bastards or Hard Home is, where it's about the grand scale of what's going on just as much as it is the individual characters.
Mm-hmm.
And without getting into spoilers, we are going to see some other scenes from Rook's Rest in this trailer, but there are both high stakes for the war and high stakes for individual characters here.
Mm-hmm.
So
And for the story as
it's
a whole.
episode 4. It's going to be a big
Hey,
one.
ooh, ooh. By the way, before we move on, Urtek is chiming in. By the way, I'm very happy to have a person who's worked on this stuff in the chat. He says I'm actually making a reread of A Song of Ice and Fire books right now, and I'm going to prepare an artwork for
Nice.
each book before House of Dragons season 2 hits, which we'll look out for that.
That's awesome.
But right after, I'm totally
can't
going
wait
to be
to see
focusing
him.
on House of the Dragon for sure. Yeah, we will look out for that. Thank you. He's working hard here. Woohoo! It's very exciting. All right. Why don't we just keep a going? Hit play, please. Thank you, Richard.
Let's do it.
Allison looks great. Love the
Auto
chair.
Hightower.
Oh. Pause on Kristen Cole's new haircut. Really, really briefly. Kristen Cole's short hair. This is exactly like when Jaime Lannister, Nikolai Coster-Waldau, had like long medievally hair for the first. Was it just the first? No, I think it was the first few seasons. And then I think in season 4. First three. Yeah, that sounds about right. And then I think in season 4, I guess he was like, I don't want to wear a wig anymore. I don't want to shampoo all this. I just want to have a normal go to the barber, give me a number 3, and I'm just going to deal with that. And like Fabian Frankel is just skipping the line by like several seasons. He's like, nope, I'm done with the long fantasy hair. Give me the short haircut. We're working with it. It's a war haircut. You can't have things flopping in your hair, in your eyes when you're thick of battle. It's war on. We need our supercuts battle head.
Yeah, I mean the short hair, I gotta say, I was talking to our colleague Natalie about this, and basically she said, I'm happy for him that he got a less attractive haircut, because Chris, like, everyone loves to hate on Kristen because he sucks.
He's awful. Yeah.
No hate to Fabian Frankel, who is great.
Yes.
But yeah, so I didn't like it when Jaime Lannister got his haircut. I believe that was because Nikolai Coster-Waldau was also starring in some contemporary movies around the same time. So that's why he got the haircut. And I thought it was folly, not worth it for rom-coms, whatever. Should have kept the long hair. It gave Jaime Lannister gravitas. Kristen Cole, I don't care. I think it kind of fits probably with the dark space Kristen's going into. Like, he is going to be basically the general for the Greens in this war. Hey Richard, can we fast forward just like a screen or two to the person that he's beheading? Yeah, thank you. So this is again, I'm not quite sure who he's beheading here. It's happening really fast. But there are going to be a few moments in this war where allegiances are tested. People might swear to the blacks, then lose, and then end up in possession of the greens, vice versa. This is going to get bloody and duplicitous and awful. Like, this war is the worst in Westeros's history, what we are about to start watching in season 2. So yeah, and Kristen Cole is going to be one of the worst in this worst war. So great. Yay. Looking forward to hating Kristen even more this season.
Somehow we'll find a way. Continue on.
Yeah.
Gotta love those little ball things. Aegon of the Throne, Rhaenyra
Yep.
looking fabulous. Allison, some mysterious shots. Yeah, pause on the dragon
Kill.
flying over the guy. That's an important bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Okay. So they have been hiding so much of the particulars of some of the new characters. I don't need to get
Yep.
that much into it, but basically, they only now revealed that this is Clinton Liberty, who we're seeing, the actor. He's playing Adam of Hull. We've had shows before saying, like, is Adam of Hull in it? Because they never said he was in it before. Like, they announced Gail Rankin as Alice Rivers. They announced Abubakar Salim as Alan of Hull. They didn't announce Clinton Liberty as Adam of Hull. We had to look that up and find it ourselves through sleuthing, even though he's, at least in the book Fire and Blood, one of the more important figures. I love his story. I don't want to spoil too much, but basically he'll be a character. He's one of the dragon seeds, these peasants who end up mounting dragons once the noble-born dragon riders start, spoiler alert, dying off like flies, and they need some replacements, and they're willing to dumpster dive for peasants to get them. I love that story. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And I think it's just cool. I think it's just cool, the idea, I said it so many times, the of like a low-born person ascending the ranks through need and mounting a dragon. It like adds some kind of whiz-bang How to Train Your Dragon fantastical fantasy into this more heavy Shakespearean, all about the rich noble story. And I love that he's here, and I can't wait to see what Clinton Liberty does with the role, and that's him looking at sea smoke, probably. Laenor Valerian's former dragon.
Yep, probably sea smoke up there. Laenor, you'll recall, he went off to live across the narrow sea with his beau, whose name I don't remember, in season 1. And so sea smoke here, and Adam of Hull. I don't know why they've been so coy about revealing some of these characters, but I'm glad we finally got the confirmation. Adam of Hull is in the show. I love I feel like it's kind of fun. The House of the Dragon cast has been a little less cagey with giving quotes than Game of Thrones. Maybe because Fire and Blood's out there, you can find these things. So Abubakar Salim, who played Father on Raised by Wolves, is this character's brother in this show. Like you said, Alan of Hull, and he tweeted out,
"Great,
he's very loyal about his brother Adam," which the book readers will know that that's a very specific reference. So yeah, really looking forward to the sowing of the seeds, and like you said, it adds a little bit of like that classic fantasy, rising through the ranks, mounting a dragon. But since this is a George R.R. Martin story, obviously it's going to end up being real messed up by the end, I'm sure.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it should be good stuff. I'm most curious about when during the season the sowing of the seeds is going to happen. But yeah,
I am too. And we
stuff.
earnestly don't know exactly when yet. We can make some guesses, but probably best left another time. For now, let's go on with the trailer. Punch it. Look at that dragon. Look at it fly. Some more stuff of Rook's Rest, Painted Table, Corlys Valerian. Another. Ooh. Pause on that one. Of the Iron Throne.
We got to talk about.
We really don't. I just think the shot is beautiful. Although I will point out, this is Aemon Targaryen, played by Ewan Mitchell. He seems like he's looking at the Iron Throne at night and probably lusting in his heart after the power it represents. Here's something important, though, that is something worth talking about. This is a dark shot of the Iron Throne at night. And throughout this whole trailer, they are lighting their night shots for them to actually be visible. I know that the show got a lot of critique in its first season for the light being too low in some situations. Think about that, like Daemon and Rhaenyra walking on the beach scene, episode 7, where you could maybe make out their fuzzy outlines, but it was sort of hard to see. Now, Miguel Sapochnik, the showrunner, who's also a great director, left the show. It seems like he was the one championing the natural low lighting, and it looks like in this trailer they've made real efforts to make sure you can see what's going on even at night. In the next shot after this, we could push forward a couple of frames, Richard, to when the Night's Watch through the forest. Again, night shot. But look at the figures, look at the trees, look at the snow, look at the bushes, look at the clouds. I'm in favor of this, and I'm glad they listened.
Yeah, the day as night, which is what those shots were that Sapochnik was kind of known for in House of the Dragon. He didn't do it as much in Thrones. Those were different sorts of night shots that were equally dark. The Driftmark ones were kind of notable because like they filmed those in daylight and then they artificially darkened them to a point where a lot of people couldn't really see them. But yeah, so it looks like they maybe took some notes there, which is good because we're gonna have to have some ominous dark scenes. The only thing I'll say about Aemond with the Iron Throne, which we don't need to rewind for, but Aemond, if you'll recall, he had some conflicts where he felt like he was the better candidate to be king. That was a thing that came up during the Green Council, because Aemond is the dutiful Targaryen son, and Aegon really just wants to be a giant douche, and also just go around doing what he wants. So that is probably going to play a major part this season, that plot line for Aemond. And then here is another very cool thing, which is a bit of a deviation from the books. And that is that we believe this is the Night's Watch. We're going to be going north to Winterfell. Tom Taylor's playing Cregan Stark, a relative of Eddard and the whole Stark family. And Jacaerys, if you remember, at the end of season 1, Jacaerys left to go treat with people like the Starks in Winterfell and the Arryns at the Eyrie. So I guess maybe they'll take a road trip to the Wall, which could be cool. Like he gets there and Cregan has some business to do at the Wall or something. But cool to see the Night's Watch back, because otherwise they wouldn't have been in this story at all. So this is a change I'm cautiously in favor of.
Cautiously in favor. We still don't know if it's like a full story or just like a little subplot or just like a cameo for fan service. We'll see. By the way, Nicole's into seeing Winterfell and anything Night's Watch again. It'll be nice to see them. Both Julie and Nicole agree that light is good, and Saiganisha, we will be talking about all those George R. R. Martin quotes a little bit later. Don't you worry. Okay, Richard, please continue the trailer. Nice. Ooh, I'd stop for that, and I don't know what to say about it. That's a beautiful shot of the two dragons.
Let's stop on those dragons on the beach. Yeah. So,
although, what is Alicent at the lake? We don't need to see it, but what is she doing? Like, that's not from the book, or at least not that I recall.
Thank you, Richard.
She never goes to a lake and is all contemplative. She never goes. She is never contemplative near a lake. I'm sure she kind of looks like a King Arthur Guineverean kind of mood to that one.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if that's a dream that Alicent's having, because she pretty much stays in King's Landing for this period of the Dance of the Dragons that we're expecting to see covered. Really, for most of the dance, Alicent stays in King's Landing. King's Landing is pretty notably a coastal city. There's not really a large lake that she would be kicking off to that looks like that near it that we're aware of. So yeah, that does have that Arthurian vibe, like you said. I thought that was a cool call. It is reminiscent of that. So I wonder if that's a dream she's having. Maybe some ominous stuff there. And then
that would be a big deal if they introduce. There's never been a dream sequence on Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon. That would be I'm not sure how I'd feel about that, but we'll see when it happens, I suppose.
Is that true? There weren't any on Thrones? I can't.
Well, there's like visions. There's like Bran having wow, like future crap, but no.
Well, what I would say to that is that Martin has quite a lot of dreams in A Song of Ice and Fire. So I would personally, that's another thing where it's like, I could totally get behind that. If they had, what is the mental toll for this on Alicent, who basically like kind of started a lot of this stuff? Like, Otto manipulated her, but they've really played up Alicent and Rhaenyra as the two main movers of this conflict, even as they both have people pulling them along, which I like personally. So I want to feel the emotional toll this is taking on both of them, that their families are now at war because they couldn't get this feud behind them.
I'm sure we'll get into it. I just if they do dream sequences, I hope they do it tastefully and with restraint, but we'll see when it happens. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. So can we fast forward just a frame to the two dragons on the beach here, Richard? Yeah, so this might be one of my favorite shots of the entire trailer. So here we have Rhaenyra and Syrax on the left side of the frame, and we believe, we're not positive, but we're pretty sure that we're looking at Adam of Hull as Clinton Liberty and Sea Smoke on the right side. So spoilers here, Adam is one of the dragon seeds that successfully rides a dragon. But what would that look like to then have a new dragon rider brought into the fold? Rhaenyra, would she become a mentor to these dragon riders? She has been a rider since she was a kid. She's one of the most experienced around at this point. And don't forget that Sea Smoke was her former husband's dragon. So something like someone else coming along and riding it would hold, again, a lot of emotional weight. Any thoughts on this shot, Dan?
I mean, it's pretty. It's obviously a little bit showing off, kind of like a fun composition. Yeah, it's probably Adam. Yeah, will Rhaenyra be a mentor to the dragon seeds, or will she spit in their peasant faces and make them kneel and work for her until they get fed up? We'll find out in House of the Dragon season 2.
Yeah, it might depend on the stage the dance is at. Rhaenyra's got a big arc here. There are times she's a bit more heroic and times she is less so. So we'll see what happens. Can we step forward to the next frame before we kick it and really go forward? There's a shot of a domed building. Oh, well, yeah. So I don't know what the deal is with that underwater shot of what looks like Helena. My first thought again is that another dream? But that'd be two dream sequences in the same trailer, because Helena does have visions in the book. But so Dan broke this trailer down on winteriscoming.net if you're curious about all the little details. But this, you asked about this building. I think this could be the dragon pit. That's kind of my one thought here. Other than that, I'm not sure what it could be.
It probably is the dragon pit, I'm sure. Not a giant mystery here. I'm sorry. It's probably the dragon pit. It's a big old dome.
Yeah, it's a big old dome. Shall we carry on?
Let's do it. Helena and the weird thing got some other action shots. Of course, Field of Fire, gonna love it. Ooh, the best line. That's my favorite shot, by the way, is Baela Targaryen screaming. I just love kind of the intensity and the ferocity of it. Kind of the way it cut from sort of Rhaenys pensive line about the gods abhorring no war so much as a war between kin, and no war so bloody as war between dragons, to this like kind of young person screaming with the unbridled, heedless, stupid rage of youth to burn everybody she wants because she can. It's fun and it's going to lead them all to ruin. Ooh, I thought it was good. I got chills from that one. Also, it'll be fun to see Moondancer, her dragon. This is my favorite shot, I think. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, it's a really good shot. I love, she's wearing the black and red Targaryen colors too. And it will be nice. This does kind of confirm for us that we'll be getting a look at Moondancer this season. So more dragons, which is so exciting because there were a few that were really missed last season, like Sunfire. Aegon's dragon is one we don't see at all in this trailer, but is almost certainly coming, going to be featured more next season. So yeah, good stuff.
Please continue. Got King's Landing, a riot. Not sure. They'll have to add that in. Oh god, do we dare?
Can we Yeah, let's rewind for a sec. There's a shot of Helena with a dude to his knife. We got to point it out.
Okay, let's point it out.
We can't not.
Okay, a little further back.
Yeah,
before him. Keep going. Right there. That.
There it is.
Go ahead. Take it.
Okay, major spoilers here. We won't get into the deets, but we've talked about it on here quite a lot, that Blood and Cheese is a very iconic, well-known scene of the Dance of the Dragons. It's probably happening in the season premiere, maybe episode 2, but probably the premiere, and is essentially the Rhaenyra and Daemon's revenge for Lucerys. Helena is involved, and that's pretty much the only thing this scene could be. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Something
It's
about seeing this
definitely
makes it
blood and
feel
cheese.
realer. It's coming.
It'll be uncomfortable. We'll see what happens when we get to it. All right, hit it. Let's go to the end. We got more Duskendale stuff, the big old battle. We got a little bit of a... let's pause on this final shot of Vhagar. So the final shot, you got to end with the dragon going overhead.
Yeah.
I'll note that they seem pretty far along. Like, this shot looks good. It's a giant dragon shot, and we know those take a while and are expensive. But if they've already animated a huge shot of one of their main monsters in this big epic sweep, they're not just starting. Like, they are a ways into post-production then, if they already have full done dragon shots. And that is undoubtedly, by the way, Aemond on Vhagar during the Battle of Rook's Rest, just scaring the crap out of all the troops on the ground.
Yep. I mean, Vhagar is pretty enormous, the largest living dragon, and I love how you feel it when Vhagar takes off. Like, this is a lumbering behemoth. It's not a spry little dragon. It is a dragon. She's been around for hundreds of years. Yeah, I agree with you that they're probably, they're deep into post-production at this point, where I guess they officially wrapped in October, I think. Maybe early November, we started getting those pictures of the wrap party, but they may have been working on some of these shots, like the shot of Vhagar from before that.
Totally.
So one of the things we're going to talk about in a second is George R. R. Martin visited the set, and he talked about how he saw rough cuts of some episodes. So some shots are done. Whole episodes may not be done, but yeah, work is coming along on House of the Dragon season 2.
I also love Julie's comment. She loves the way they show the toll taken on the dragon. It's sadly beautiful. Yeah, the way that just you see like the gaps in her wings and sort of all the like the rough how this dragon's been around for a long time and is still being ridden into war, that old war horse. Yeah, it's gorgeous and sad. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. And spooky.
Yep.
Let's wrap it up because that's pretty much the trailer, I believe. That's the last shot. And then summer coming in the summertime.
There's one.
Go outside? No, don't. Stay inside, watch television.
Definitely stay inside and watch television. There's one other thing. We don't need to rewind for it, but I just want to point out that it is in there. And for the eagle-eyed fans who like going through things frame by frame, you can go back and find it. In one of those final flashes in the trailer, there is a shot of, I think, Eric Cargill fighting with someone. That's another very famous scene from Fire and Blood that's going to be in this season. Is people call it Cargill Bowl, but that feels like cheating to me because that's just Clegane Bowl, but a different thing. But yeah, so some stuff with the Cargill brothers is going to go down. But beyond that, what else is going on, Dan? What else we got to talk about today?
I wish we could luxuriate in this for a minute. We have too much to get to, so we got to keep this train moving.
Yeah.
Literally today, I think, George R. R. Martin, of course, the writer of Fire and Blood, Fire creator of Game of Thrones, posted to his Nada blog, just a big post talking about him visiting London, him talking to his publisher about the Winds of Winter, him visiting the set of House of the Dragon, and just, I think possibly for the first time, he was bowled over. He loved the sets. Huge, stunning, and so damned real that I felt as if I had gone through a time portal to medieval Westeros. I love castles and have visited dozens of actual medieval castles, keeps, and towers in my time, but none of the real castles I've ever seen can hold a candle or a torch to our Red Keep. So he's loving the sets. Good for him. He also mentioned that he'd seen the first 2 episodes of House of the Dragon. Again, he was bowled over. He was gushing the whole way through, which is a good sign. He admits he's not objective. This is his work, but still good to hear that he's enjoying it. I thought both episodes were just great, and they aren't even finished yet. dark, mind you, very dark. They may make you cry. Powerful, emotional, gut-wrenching, heart-rending. Just the sort of thing I like. So yeah, he's loving it. I'm glad he's having a good time. And then
Yeah.
finally, probably most interestingly, he said that he
Yeah,
spent a
this is
couple of
important.
days with the writers, with showrunner Ryan Condal, with the rest of the House of the Dragon writing staff, which includes Sarah Hess, T. Mickle, David Hancock, and Philippa Goslett, and not Ira Parker, because I think he's now working a, a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. But Martin sat in the room with him and
Gotcha.
basically worked on House of the Dragon seasons 3 and 4, he said. So they're planning those, and I guess we're guaranteed at least up to season 4 now through George R. R. Martin confirmation.
Well, I think it wouldn't be surprising at all to me that if HBO is kind of lightly planning to go up through season 4, like why wouldn't they? This show is clearly a hit for them. One thing, so the trailer that we just broke down and talked about is the most viewed trailer in its first 2 days of any trailer that HBO has released since Max launched in 2020. I think it racked up around 63 million views in those 2 days, which is not holding a candle to Grand Theft Auto 6, but we don't need to get into that. But yeah, so I'm not surprised to hear that they're planning for seasons 3 and 4. That's pretty much the breadth of what I always thought this story would need to do, like the Dance of the Dragons well, is 4 seasons. So they're planning that. And I love that Martin was really transparent about this, just saying, we talked about it. We spent 2 days with lively, fun discussions. We got some good work done, though 2 days was not nearly enough. There's so much ground to cover that I'm not sure 20 days would have been enough, he said. So yeah, making plans for House of the Dragon seasons 3 and 4. Like you said, he loved the sets, and it means a little more coming from Martin that he gushed about these sets, because I feel like any creator going to a set would be like, the sets were huge and magnificent, but like keep in mind that he's worked in TV for, a long time. So when he says these sets are like nothing he's ever seen, like he visited Game of Thrones, he's been to Winterfell. These are bigger, better sets, which is wild to me, because some of those final season Game of Thrones sets were ridiculous.
And he loved the episodes.
Yeah, and he loved the episodes, which of course bodes well. And like you said, he's not objective, but I'm gonna trust him, because if he said they were terrible, then I would have been real sad. He said he did not cry himself, but one of his friends did. And yeah, all right there, Blood and Cheese. Let's do it. That's what I'm assuming it's gonna be. What
he
else?
Probably laughed. He also mentioned briefly, the Game of Thrones stage play that they've been working on for a while. We haven't heard much about that recently. A while ago, they announced a Game of Thrones stage play about the tourney at Harrenhal, where Rhaegar Targaryen absconds with Lyanna Stark, which sounds like if you're gonna do a Game of Thrones stage play, I thought that the idea of a play at all at first was like, come on, you don't need to do that. And then I'm like, it's about the Harrenhal tournament. I'm like, okay, I could see that. Just saying that they might update the title from Harrenhal to the Iron Throne, which is a worse title, by the way, but also saying that he isn't sure if that'll stick either. So that's coming along. It exists. It's still happening.
Yeah.
Nice update.
Well,
keep it on talking.
There's one other thing he said about that, which is that he thinks it could go up in the West End and in London in late 2024. Not positive. It could get pushed back, but that kind of gives a decent benchmark, I think, for how far along this thing is. It's no longer just a nebulous, they're making a Game of Thrones stage play. Who knows if it will ever happen? It sounds like at this point they're eyeing late next year. So for people in London, you're lucky. Go see the Game of Thrones stage play, because I can't. So you probably should.
You can swim. I mean, with the qualifier that George R. R. Martin predicting dates is maybe not what you should set your watch to.
Harsh.
Like I don't know if
Yeah,
I would fully trust Martin when it comes to this will happen on this date. He kind of has a track record for not being the most reliable situation, but I'm glad it's still happening.
Pencil
pencil it in. That's why pencils have erasers, in case George R. R. Martin told you to meet him at a certain time. All right. And that is some of the Game of Thrones House of the Dragon stuff going on. Quite a bit. Exciting times. We'll only see more going forward. I'm looking forward to it. But before we kind of push on to the lightning round or other things, there was other stuff that also got shown over the weekend at the CCXP convention in Brazil, where they showed off the House of the Dragon trailer. In my opinion, the House of the Dragon trailer kind of blew everything else out of the water, but there was a lot of other stuff happening. Why don't we just kind of really blast through a few of the other things showed off and give our lightning round-esque opinions without lightning round structure?
Okay. Sounds good.
Are you excited to see the Fallout TV show on Amazon based on the video games?
Yeah, I'm very excited. So I am a fan of the Fallout games. I've played many of them back all the way back to Fallout 1 because I'm that old.
Damn, you're old.
So I'm really excited for this. I think they really captured the tone and the feel of Fallout in this trailer because there's kind of a nostalgic, tongue-in-cheek sort of tone to the series that is set in the post-apocalypse. Really excited for this. It's the producers of Westworld, Jonah Nolan and Lisa Joy. It's on Amazon, which Amazon, the trailer says like free 2-day shipping, and I hated that, even though is it funny or is it cringe? I liked
it.
Yeah. So, well, Dan, let me ask you. So, as someone who is not familiar with the games, are you excited for Fallout?
It looked cute. Yeah, it looked nice. It looked like it does have a style to it. Like it's confident in having this sort of tongue-in-cheek post-apocalypse 1940s cultural pastiche that is a unique blend, and it seems to know what it's about. I could check it out if it comes out, but not at the top of my watch list. But it looks cool.
Ooh, shots fired. It is at the top of mine. I'll put that out there.
Nice. What I will be watching is The Boys season 4. I know it's also coming out on Amazon next year. Again, not a release date. They just coming out next year. Of course I will.
Yeah, coming soon.
Yeah, coming soon. The Boys. That show has earned my trust. The kind of what if superheroes were the worst, and also what if this superhero is kind of Donald Trump, but don't tell anybody. We're not going to go that far and make it explicit. Good satire, good gore effects. I like the show. It's fun.
Yeah, so it's funny. I feel like we're opposite sides of the coin here because The Boys was the trailer I was the least excited about. It looked fine. Like it was a solid trailer. Like you said, The Boys is always like a good time. It's never like, oh, that was bad. Yeah. Like just not the case. But I never find myself being like, man, I can't wait to rewatch The Boys. I'm so obsessed with The Boys. Like, so I will watch it, but I we'll see how excited we get. It feels a little like kind of more of the same, just a tiny bit. But then again, I wasn't excited for Gen V, and that ended up being great, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. So yeah, The Boys is also coming back presumably next year, even though they didn't even put the year in the trailer. Why are you playing coy with us, Amazon?
Yeah, I'm interested in that. Are you into the new season of Halo? Is that on Paramount Plus? Halo, the TV show Halo?
Yeah, that is one of Paramount Plus's flagship shows, basically, aside from Star Trek. And I guess they have Yellowstone too, which is obviously their juggernaut, whatever. Halo is one of their bigger sci-fi shows. I am. So this comes with the caveat that I am not a huge Halo game fan, which is probably part of why I enjoyed the first season more than a lot of people. It had its rough spots, it had its flaws, but it reminded me a lot of like Battlestar Galactica in some of the things that it did about like, you know, do the Spartans have free will and stuff like that. So the trailer, I will say, aside from just thoughts about season 1, I thought this had a banging trailer, particularly. The trailer for season 2 of Halo looked cool. And that one, Amazon playing coy about release dates. Halo did the opposite. That's coming February 8th, 2024. So that is right around the corner. It's going to be one of the first shows out of the gate next year. Are you going to watch it, Dan?
No. Are you interested in
I figured.
Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, a new Godzilla Kong movie where giant monsters battle? They'll find something to fight about, I'm sure.
Yeah, they'll battle other giant monsters. Yes, I've kind of fallen off with the Monsterverse. I never saw Godzilla versus Kong, the first one of these crossovers. But I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued enough, every once in a while you just get in the mood for a good kaiju fight. So
Sure.
I may get caught up in time to see this in theaters because movies like these are best in theaters. And this one also comes out April 12th, the same day as Fallout. That week is gonna be
Huh.
nuts.
Yeah, exciting.
Do you have any interest in this? I presume you're skipping this one.
Probably. Yeah, probably. Although I'll tell you one thing I will see in theaters 100%
Tell me.
is the
Yeah.
next trailer, which was Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. I don't like that title. I hate the way that I get it. You want to mark this as like part of your cinematic universe. It's a Mad Max saga, but I don't think Mad Max is gonna be in it. It's gonna be about Furiosa. I loved Mad Max Fury Road. I think I saw that twice in the theaters, which is very rare for me. I don't usually see a movie more than once in the theaters, and then I watched it again at home. I thought it was the best action I've seen in the past, like maybe 20 years. I thought it was great. This trailer, honestly, which is like a prequel where Anya Taylor-Joy takes over for Charlize Theron, plays the younger version of Furiosa, who's like a post-apocalyptic desert warrior lady, whatever. Looked a little unfinished to me. I don't know. Some of the special effects looked like they were still in the oven, but given how much I loved Mad Max Fury Road, I am willing to give it like 30 passes. So I will see this one 100%.
Yeah, I imagine this is going to be a pretty big event. I forgot to put the release date down for this, but I believe it's in May 24th, maybe May sometime. Yeah, I'm excited for Furiosa too. I love Fury Road. That was just a bombastic, crazy ass action
So
movie.
good.
It was so good. The story of them making that movie is also quite a saga. It was a very notoriously difficult film to shoot. But it came through on screen. It was just really good. I agree with you that I think some of the effects in the Furiosa trailer looked a little underbaked, but I imagine that's just because they're still working on it. I'm totally willing to,
cross fingers.
George Miller, the last one, like it was a Mad Max movie and it was nominated for like 10 Oscars. So like that doesn't really happen for these types of movies. So the fact that it was is like he has a pass for me. I will go watch this. I'm super excited for it. The only other thing I'll say is I agree with you about the Furiosa : a Mad Max saga. Like studios, have the tiniest bit of confidence, please, that your audience will know what the movie is about without you spoon feeding us a terrible : apostrophe long as hell title. Like, look at I will always reference this, one of my favorite movies of last year, Prey. Didn't need to be Prey, a Predator saga for us to know what it was.
Oh
It
my
was just Prey, and
God.
we all figured out that it was a Predator movie. Like, give us that, please, in the future.
Like,
but yeah, I'm
Prey
psyched
by
for this.
itself is such a great title. It's so simple and like connects right to like the brainstem lizard part of your brain. Like it's like a fear word. It's so good.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about that. That is a crime punishable at the Hague, appending that a predator. What was it? Prey, a predator?
Oh,
something?
it wasn't. No, Prey was my example of a movie that didn't do it.
Okay, gotcha.
That just
Sorry.
trusted the audience would. Oh God, no. Yeah, Prey just trusted the audience would figure it out. They don't need to be spelling it out for everyone. And I wish more movies and shows would take that note.
The Lord of the Rings,
we'll
the Rings
on.
of Power.
yeah, if anything, it gets people talking, because then when people talk about it and it's like, I didn't know there was a new Lord of the Rings show. Oh yeah, it's the Rings of Power. Like, you don't need, don't give us SEO titles for
Oh
movie
my God.
titles, people.
As Andrew
But
says,
yeah,
you know what? Andrew's right. House of the Dragon did do it the right way. Didn't go House of the Dragon, a Game of
yes,
Thrones story, which it could have.
yes.
Solo, a Star Wars story. Shut up. You deserve to bomb. Um, by the
Yeah.
way, Nicole asked a good question. Why are there so many Godzilla shows movies lately? You got Monarch over on Apple TV Plus. You got this new Godzilla movie -1, I think from the original studio in Japan.
Yep.
You got this thing. I don't know because Hollywood has no ideas, Nicole, because they get on something that works and then they all just pile on and try that exact same thing until they burn themselves out. That's my answer.
Yeah. Well, there are kind of two sides to that. Some part of it is like studios coincidentally having the timing line up, because Godzilla -1 is, like you said, that is a Japanese film. Japan has its own long, Godzilla is a
Mhm.
Japanese franchise. So they just still make Godzilla movies. They have since whatever for 50, 60, however many years since the original Godzilla. They've just been periodically making them over there. Um, on the US side, so that's Monarch and Godzilla X Kong, and the reason is because they're trying to build their own cinematic universe. And as much as we scoff at that, and I am prone to wanting to scoff at that, the Monsterverse is actually like one of the few that's worked surprisingly. Like, it has its fans and it's still going. They've had
Yeah.
6 movies at this point, I think. 5 movies. So like, and a TV show. So the TV show Monarch is supposed to be great as well. I haven't seen it, but I've heard nothing but really good things about it.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm intrigued. But
WiC
it's a fair
adjunct
question. It
professor
feels like it's all Godzilla all the time right
all of a
now.
sudden.
Oh yeah.
I know that WiC adjunct professor Camilla Cerveo really likes Monarch. I've yet to watch them. I loved the first
Yes.
like the original like 54 Godzilla movie. I think it's really good. I haven't really watched much beyond that, but I saw like one of these. And you're right, they do keep making these movies, so it must be successful.
Sure.
I feel like it's sort of a
Oh
level of
yeah.
like a Transformers franchise where maybe it's not considered the most prestigious thing in the world or not on like a Marvel level of success, but obviously they have carved out a nice little uh piece of heaven for themselves, and for that I commend them and their giant monsters.
I kind of Yeah, I kind of disagree with the Transformers comparison. I think maybe
Mhm.
that's fair with on the US end with US Godzilla movies, because we've had a lot of hits and misses. Like there was one with Bryan Cranston and Aaron Taylor
Yeah,
Johnson
there
that was
was.
really good. But then there was like Godzilla 2000, I think, or whatever the one before that was with Matthew Broderick, that was really bad.
That was
So
ages
like the
ago.
US, Transformers is maybe fair there, but like in Japan, like Godzilla is a really like long running, really successful franchise. So I think it's on a different level than something like Transformers, like globally. But yeah, so Camilla, since you brought her up, she also said that Godzilla -1 is her favorite movie she's seen this year. And I've seen that sentiment from
Nice.
a few different critics as well, that like not only is it a great Godzilla movie, it's one of the best movies of 2023, which like I didn't expect. They made it on like a shoestring like $15 million budget, I think. But apparently it's really, really good. It just extended its theatrical run in the US until December 14th. So if you've been curious about Godzilla -1, you have an extra like weekend change to see it if you want to in theaters.
Nice. I'll look into it. uh According to Saganisha, HBO may have passed on the Godzilla show because of the budget and they already had one mega IP property show. But Apple got the money to
Hmm.
deliver. What should they do? All right, Daniel, we're going to the ends of this.
Yeah.
Really quick, are you reading or watching anything you want to talk about?
Yes. So I mentioned earlier, I have seen all of Gen V. I binged it
Nice.
over Thanksgiving, which feels like ages ago. But I've been gone for a while. It was really good. I enjoyed Gen V a lot. Um, I almost liked it I'm hesitant to say more than The Boys, but
Ooh,
I part of me wonders if I did. I enjoyed it a lot. I think they did some really interesting things with the powers. The powers had some interesting like thematic relevance to like what the people were going through as college students. So it was a little that side of it was more interesting to me than just, A train's really fast. The deep can commune with animals, and then how messed up are they because of that? These were
mhm.
like the powers were statements on like things like self-harm and empowerment and stuff like that in ways that I didn't expect and thought were really interesting. So yeah,
Cool.
Gen V I really liked. I'm glad it got a second season. Finale was great. It was directed by Sana Hamri, who directed like half of the Wheel of Time season 2.
Nice.
Beyond that, yeah, still watching Beacon 23. Um, it's slowed down a little bit in the middle of the season. First 3 episodes were fantastic. It's on a little bit of rocky footing at the moment. I'm still enjoying it, but I'm curious to see how it sticks the landing in its last 3 episodes. Um, and the very last thing, and then I'll ask you, Dan, the same question,
Mhm.
is I watched it's technically like a horror like romance. It was a weird movie that I enjoyed so much called Spring. It's by I think
Dang.
Aaron and Moorhead, who are I forget their first names, but they're like a writing directing pair that Marvel
Sure.
just brought on board to like help them fix Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah, well,
And
they're
this
over.
is like an A24 style like horror movie, but also has some interesting romance in it. So I loved that movie, and yeah, was great. And
Okay,
that's what I'm
Spring.
watching.
Okay.
What are you watching?
The same stuff as
Yeah,
usual.
Spring.
For all mankind. I'm busy with like all this real estate stuff, so I'm not watching as much in the night that I used to be. I am looking forward to seeing The Boy and the Heron this weekend. That's a new Miyazaki movie.
Oh
I want to see that.
yeah.
So
Nice.
I'm all over that. And I finished the three body problem. I talked about it last week with Camilla. I did want to ask you,
Woo.
if I want to read a Brandon Sanderson book, do you have any recommendations for me?
Oh yeah, sure. Well, do you want something long and epic? Do you want a standalone, or do you want a self-contained trilogy?
A self-contained. I don't know, and we don't have time to talk about all the details, so I regret asking you the question.
Okay. No, no, no. I'll give you the quick one. Mistborn
Okay.
is probably the one you want to start with.
Okay.
That's a
That
finished
does sound good.
trilogy. The first three Mistborn, it's a finished trilogy. It's got a really cool magic system, good characters, very solid ending and full arc. Stormlight is the big one, but Stormlight is an investment. That's like telling someone go start the Wheel of Time. So yeah,
Gotcha.
Mistborn is
I'm
my
already doing
vote.
that. Okay. I love that. I've heard of that. I can handle a trilogy. It's bigger than a single. It's not a lifetime commitment like the other thing you said, Storm Arc, Stormlight, whatever.
Yeah.
Mistborn.
Yep.
Okay.
Stormlight.
Good. I'm great.
Mistborn.
I think I'll try
Yeah.
it. Thank you, Dan, because I do want something to read.
Cool.
Now that I'm done, I like get to like kind of out before bed, and I'm like, I want to read something. I don't have anything to read yet. Okay, so I will try and pick that up and report back in a little bit. All right, and before we
Awesome.
round
I
out
hope you
this,
enjoy it.
I hope I do too. Before we round out this thrilling hour of Take the Black Live, why don't we hit another of our famous WiC News Lightning Rounds where we go over stories we couldn't get to in the main body of the show and give our 20-second opinions?
Yes, let's do it. I'm going to ask you the first one here, Dan. Are
Hit
you
me.
ready to lightning? All right, I'll take that as a yes, a lightninged yes.
Mhm.
So Apple TV Plus's show Foundation, based on the book by Isaac Asimov, it's been renewed for season 3.
Good for it. I watched a bit of the first season, didn't really dig it, but I understand that people have liked it more as it's gone on. Foundation. I'm glad that story's getting adapted. I'm glad they're spending money on big properties. I never feel like I hear people talking about it, but apparently I like Apple's willing to just throw money at these things. So rock on, Boogie Mama, you're gonna make it after all.
Yep. Some Apple
Awesome.
exec is picking out their pocket lint and pocket change and saying, "Go make a
Exactly.
show."
Speaking of returning TV shows, the Last of Us showrunner Craig Mazin says that season 2 of the HBO zombie phenom will begin filming on February 12th of next year, 2024.
Yeah, exciting. The Last of Us season 2 now has a date when it's starting. I believe Craig Mazin said this in like a kind of a roundtable directors interview. And yeah, notably, that is after The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered comes out from Naughty Dog, which of course has co-showrunner Neil Druckmann is working on that right now. That comes out in January. So then in February, everyone can just change gears and make some television.
Yay.
Yay. All right, Dan. So here is one about the Marvel. We're going to talk Marvel news here for a minute. So MCU boss Kevin Feige has he has refuted the rumors going around that Marvel is desperate and wants Robert Downey Jr. to come back as Tony Stark / Iron Man.
Yeah. What I like about this is that his first comment when someone brought it up after the retreat was like, I don't know. I haven't heard that. We'll see what happens. And now this new one is like, we're not doing it. So I like to think that between those two things, Downey Jr. called and he was like, I'll do it for $1 trillion. And then Feige's like, so we're not doing it. We're not bringing it back. It's too important. We can't touch it. It just wouldn't be right. That's what I like to think happened. Speaking of Marvel, Dan, Disney is officially no longer reporting box office data for the Marvels, despite it still being in theaters, probably because it took a big, fat, stinking... I shouldn't have started the sentence. It failed. It's bomb. Clearly, they're taking the fact it's the first Marvel Studios movie not to break even well.
Yeah, Marvel and Disney have really not been handling this bomb well. I enjoyed the Marvels, I will say. But in terms of box office numbers, it is the first MCU movie that probably won't break even. And yeah, they're not reporting box office data, even though like plenty of other movies that are pulling in smaller hauls are still reporting. So it feels like Disney is just their ego is hurt and they're like, it's embarrassing. The headlines are too embarrassing. And also stop shading Nia DaCosta, Disney. It looks weird. All right. So oh yeah, they've been well, that's like the Bob Iger saying they should have more CEOs on set for more oversight. There have been a few, they ran an article that was like, yeah, she skipped the premiere, that she wasn't invited. They didn't invite her to it, and it was on her birthday. And then Variety ran an article saying she ditched it. So they've had a weird kind of, I don't know, weird smear campaign against her that is rather unbecoming Marvel Studios.
I feel bad for her.
Yeah, it's unwarranted in my opinion. All right, so, all right, Dan. So tell us why we should care about this. So we got our first look. Sebastian Stan, so that is Bucky from the MCU. He's playing young Donald Trump in a movie that is, of course, called The Apprentice, because someone somewhere wanted this to happen.
Yeah, I mean, why should we care? Because Donald Trump is probably the biggest cultural figure of our lives, of our time. And I think Sebastian Stan he looks better than I thought, which is that he looks worse than I thought. I thought he would be too handsome to do this, but he is kind of pulling off like sort of, I don't know, like disheveled, sloppy better than I thought he would. I don't know if I'll see it, but
true.
Sure, it's an important story whether you want it to be or not. Sorry you live in this reality. Okay.
Okay, me too.
Daniel, you know about this stuff. Doug Cockle, the actor who voices Geralt of Rivia in the Witcher video games, confirms that CD Projekt Red's next Witcher game is not going to focus on Geralt.
Yeah, Doug Cockle. So he's been doing some interviews lately, and he basically said, I don't know what the next Witcher is about. The one thing I do know is that it's not about Geralt. Geralt is not the focus of the next game. And that is, we've only gotten one image of this. It's like a lynx pendant in the snow. So he thinks it could be about Ciri, which is kind of one of the primary theories going around. And he thinks that's a good theory. I'll back that.
Sweet.
All right, so here's one that's maybe a tiny bit out of our wheelhouse, but it looked real cool, and I kind of wanted to hear your thoughts about it. So Jodie Foster, who she hopes people will be sick of superhero movies soon. Jodie Foster's had enough. But her new show, or it's not a new show, but her show True Detective season 4, which stars her. It just got a new trailer and a very cool poster. Are you gonna watch this one?
Probably, yeah. I enjoy True Detective. I like Jodie Foster. I think she's. I don't think that this is out of our wheelhouse. She got a comment. I don't like superhero movies very much either. I also hope they kind of go down a bit. She's great. True Detective is cool. She's allowed to have her opinions on superheroes. Whatever. Yeah. Rock on. Clarice. That's it.
Nice.
And finally, Daniel, Dune Part 2 showed off footage at CCXP and debuted some pretty new posters, including Florence Pugh as Princess Irulan in Dune Part 2. Oh, how pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, so we didn't get a trailer for Dune, but people at this convention got to see it. There are a ton of really beautiful new posters for the film out. If you are into Dune and you haven't seen them, go scour the internet for them. They did one for like each character, and there are a couple of new characters in there, including Florence Pugh, who's looking great as Princess Irulan. I can't wait for Dune Part 2. Gonna be great.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to that. And that is our show. We filled the full hour and then some. Had a great time with you guys. Glad you're back. We got a lot to talk about. Lots of House of the Dragon stuff. Lots of other things. But it's exciting times before, now, and in the future. If you want to see more of us, we are here every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, coming at you live on the Winners Coming Facebook and YouTube pages. Also, download some podcast forms. If you want to listen to us on the go, it's on iTunes, Google Play, wherever you get podcasts. Give us a like, give us a click, give us a subscribe. It really helps with our numbers, and it helps remind us that we are loved. We need that to get through the holidays. Other than that, so much fun being with you. Daniel, glad to have you back, and I'm going to put out a preliminary congratulations to Sebastian Stan for his 2025 Oscar win for The Apprentice. Bye, everybody.
Take care, all.